What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing Bloodborne the Board Game. Now, this is published by CMON Games and designed by Michael Shinall and Eric Lang. Now, Julie's going to take it away and tell you a little bit more about the game itself.
It is a cooperative game that is intended for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and above, and plays in about 60 to 90 minutes.
I think that's really dependent on your player count. I do think that it can go over that 90-minute mark, probably to about 2 hours. I'd say probably a good estimate is about 30 minutes per player. All of our plays were around the 60 to 90-minute mark, and we were playing with 2 hunters. Now, what are you doing in Bloodborne the Board Game? Well, you are venturing into the city of Yharnam, which is a Gothic city that is famous for its experiments involving blood. You are a hunter of the dream, and you are entering the city in order to deal with different scourges and creatures that are infesting the city, largely due to these experiments. Now, what does it mean to be a hunter from the dream? Well, if you die, you go back to the hunter's dream and you will respawn. So that's incorporating the video game mechanics. This is based on the PlayStation video game. You can see the PlayStation logo on the box. So it was done also in conjunction with Sony. Now, each mission, well, there's actually not missions, there are 4 campaigns in the game that are divided into 3 chapters. You must go through each chapter. You will get some story and a little bit of flavor to what you're doing. You must complete insight missions in order to then be able to complete the hunt mission by the time the Blood Moon track reaches its end. If you're not able to do it before the track reaches the end, you will then lose and have to restart the entire campaign. Now, combat is a part of this, as your hunt mission will require you to defeat an enemy. Did I miss anything there, Julie?
I think you're good.
All right, so we're going to get this to the table one more time. And before that, we are going to
grab our drinks,
grab our fellow hunter.
Let's take it to the table.
Yeah, let's get it there. Hopefully we fare better than we have in the past. Now we're going to take a look at the components for Bloodborne the Board Game. As you can see, there are a lot of components, so I'm going to try to do this faster than I usually do. Let's start with the component that is off camera with the rulebook. Overall, like the layout of the rulebook, looks really good. And you got a solid explanation of the rules. Wasn't too difficult to figure out from this book. However, there are some inconsistencies, and there has been an FAQ that's been compiled. So I would recommend checking that out. Now here we've got the stack of tiles. You can see that they all have this back because you're going to be revealing the tiles. You've got your central location, the central lamp, the Great Bridge, the Grand Cathedral, the Odon Chapel, courtyard lamp, ransacked house. You get the idea. These symbols represent different monsters that will spawn. This symbol represents the chests for consumables. We're not going to take a look at all the tiles, just a few of them. Now here we've got the 4 campaigns that come with the game. Accidentally opened up Long Hunt by mistake. We'll take a look at... Oh, sorry. I meant to say I accidentally opened up the Fall of Yharnam. We opened up the Long Hunt purposefully, as this is what's recommended for the starting campaign. So you have the introduction, the different chapters, and then all of the cards are numbered. Don't want to spoil anything for you. Let's take a look, though, at card 1, as you're going to have to see it. You'll get a hunt mission, and then you'll have some other instructions that will lead you to insight missions that you'll most likely have to complete before you get to the hunt. Now here we have our different hunters. There are 4 that are included in the base box. You have the threaded cane. Now each hunter is double-sided, as they've got their trick weapon. So threaded cane, if you flip it over, you'll notice that the cane is in a different position. You've got Ludwig's Holy Blade, and their special abilities are different depending on the side that they're on. The Saw Cleaver and the Hunter Axe. I'm going to move these just off camera, as we've got this big board here. There are 4 player boards. As you can see, they're all identical, just different colors. And as I didn't really have room to put them out, you've got the colored bases to help you tell your hunters apart. Here are the miniatures. Here we've got the Saw Cleaver. I do like the details on the minis. Once again, CMON has done a great job with the miniatures. Here is Threaded Cane. Ludwig's Holy Blade, who's probably my favorite one. I've always liked characters with gigantic swords. And then we have the Hunter Axe. Here we have the main board as well as the hunt track, the Hunter's Dream area with the upgrade cards. You'll be keeping track of your chapter cards in this location. Now here is the token right here for the Hunter's Dream for the track. For the Hunters, they each have their own pistols. So these four are the starting ones, and you'll be able to gain some of these as you play through the different campaigns and earn some rewards. Here we have the health tokens in denominations of 1, 3, 5, and 10. The enemy action cards, which we'll take a look at, but you can see there's different actions: basic, special, and ability. Those are the 3 types of actions. Savvy Hunters will keep that in mind. Here we have the boss action cards. You notice that there are Phase 2 actions and Phase 1 actions. Got this a little out of order with some of the Phase 2 that slipped ahead of the Phase 1. So it gives you an idea as to what you're going to be facing. And you've got these cards for all of the different bosses. Now here are the consumables that you can pick up. Things like Pungent Blood Cocktail, which can stop enemies from activating. Antidotes. Lead Elixir, which will let you block a damage. Molotov Cocktail, which is let you deal 2 damage to one enemy in your space. Lots of fun stuff that are very powerful and you want to pick up as you play the game. Here we've got the boss cards. These 2 are upside down. So you've got Vicar Amelia, who, judging from the character, would be this one. So we're just going to take a look at the minis and the enemies at the same time. Here we've got the Blood-Starved Beast, which is right here. I do think CMON's done a great job of turning these video game characters into miniatures. We've got Father Gascon Transformed, which is this creature here. Then we also have Father Gascoigne, this character. And then the Cleric Beast. So these are all the big bosses that will come up as you are playing the game. Here we've got the different runes that you'll get as rewards. So you can do things like refresh your firearm, let you keep 1 blood echo after you die, or for example, on attack, you may give stagger to an attack, which can be a very big deal. Now this is the Hunter upgrade deck. You notice that there is no symbol down here. I'll explain that in a moment. And these will be located in the Hunter's Dream, and you'll be able to purchase them and upgrade your cards from the standard cards. So like +1 damage, but after the attack you get to heal, stagger, and +1 damage. Lots of really cool cards. Now each Hunter's deck is going to be made up of 12 basic cards, and these 2 actually were supposed to be in this deck. So as you can see, you've got your basic dodge, basic stagger, another basic card, sorry about that, basic draw 1. So you get 3 of each of those types that go into your deck. Now we're just about done. You can see we've got some of the tokens here: the Blood Echo, the Fog token, the Antidote, and I'm drawing a blank as to what that Swirl token is up there. I'll take a look at the rule book. It is the Frenzy token. Just needed a quick reminder. Here we've got our consumable chest, our Survivor token, the Insight token, and then lastly the Corpse. Now these tokens represent some other enemies that don't have miniatures but are included in the game that you'll be fighting, and they do have full enemy cards. Now let's take a look at this enemy deck. So we got the Huntsman minion. It's right here. Nasty looking guy. We have the Scourge Beast, and you'll notice basic special attack ability. So here's a Scourge Beast mini. Definitely love the look of them. Here we've got the Hunter Mob, who's over here. Some villagers that have gone a little crazy. So we talked about some of the other characters that have tokens like Blood Crow, Old Hunter, Yosefka, Eileen the Crow, Jura's Ally, Alfred Hunter of Vile Bloods, Old Hunter Jura, Now here we've got the church giant, which we're going back into some of the miniatures that we got here. A female beast patient who's right here. The male beast patient over here. And then finally, the last thing that we're going to look at is the church servant who's hanging out over here. So there you have it. We've taken a look at all the components for Bloodborne the board game. Now keep it right here as I'll be coming back and teaching you how to set up the game and then how to play. Now let's take a look at how you set up Bloodborne the board game. I don't have that much space. As you can see, the game does take up quite a bit of room. Now we have the hunt board, and I didn't really talk about it during the components, but you were able to see it, which was what was important. So you're going to set up the hunt track, placing this token in the starting position. You will always be starting at the central lamp. Now your hunter may start in any one of these locations. Now just based on the space, I'm going to try to go like up and over for the how to play. Now your hunter will start with 6 health. You might want to use smaller denominations, but this is just a lot easier for me right this moment. You're going to want to set up your hunter's firearm, and then of course you need to select your hunter. Now if you haven't guessed, I'm playing as Saw Cleaver. So we're going to set it up, and we can put our hunter's trick weapon on whatever side that we choose. You'll also need to take the enemy action cards. You want to have them somewhere easy. As I'm not going to be moving down along the board, I will place them there. We're going to need to set up the upgrade deck. So what I will do is I'm going to shuffle these upgrade cards, and these will not be visible on camera. I don't really think I'm going to be doing that much upgrading during this how to play, but we'll explain it. And then you'll deal out the 4 cards. So as this one is the same, let's refresh it to something different. All right, so those are off camera. We now need to set up my own hunter's deck. So I'm going to deal 3 cards of each type to set up my starting 12-card deck, and we'll fix that. Now these can be returned to the box. They will not be mixed in with the upgrade cards. Now the hunter dashboard and stuff work, but it does make me miss the beautiful plastic boards from games like Zombicide. So there we have it. We've got our hunter, we've got our enemy actions. We're getting the hunt board set up. Now what we need to do is get the right get the right enemies. You may be wondering how I know it's these 3. Well, we're going to be going over setting up the long hunt. I'm not going to go through any spoilers. We're going to use the Chapter 1 setup cards, which will tell us the enemies as well as the tiles that we need for the game. So we've got the 3 enemies. Now they are double-sided. You can put either side into play. What I recommend is just kind of shuffle them up, and then, if you want to flip it around, you can, but just maybe flip one over, keep the other one right side up. It's entirely up to you. So then we've got the 3 enemies, and they will spawn at the corresponding location. Now the long hunt tells us what tiles that we need, and we need 2 random tiles per hunter. Now what we've got here, I'll show you the tiles. I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 tiles that are required. I'm just going to keep these off camera. We're going to shuffle these up, just mix them up like this. And then I need to add an extra 2 tiles to my stack. The rest get returned to the box. And then we will mix together the tiles to create our draw pile as we're going to be playing the game. Now that we know also who the enemies are, you might want to get some of the miniatures out. Now there's 4 of each type. I just grabbed 2 of each. I figured it'd be enough for what I'm trying to accomplish with this how to play. Now you got the consumables, you want to have that. You want to have your runes nearby. And of course, this isn't very well organized right now. You want to make sure that you've got the tokens, such as consumables, corpse token, frenzy tokens, antidote tokens. You want to have all of those within easy reach. Now, as I'm just going to be going through 1, 2, maybe 3 turns of the game, depending on what happens, I've got those just all piled up near me. And one component I neglected to showcase is the player aid, which we're going to be referencing as we get through this how to play. Now for the chapter, we need to finish setting it up. So we've got chapter 1, the long hunt. We then reveal the card and it tells us to start the hunt, which means we will reveal card 1. We'll get the conditions and then we will have special things that will happen if we end a move on these different locations. So you want to have that on the board. So let's reveal card 1, the last thing that we need to do for the setup. Well, we'll read this because it's fun. We must take on the streets of central Yharnam. The number of scores beaches grows. We must leave no area unchecked and uncleansed. We should also gather what information we can from the surviving townsfolk. Perhaps they can grant us insights into the cause of this sudden infestation. Now, you'll see that we have to get to these places. These typically represent insight missions, which is what we need to do to get to the final hunt mission. So you'll see that we need to end a move on the central lamp tile after we've at least collected 2 insight. Now, insight can give us upgraded runes, upgraded firearms, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. But there you have it. As you can see, it's fairly easy to set up Bloodborne the board game. Now, keep it right here as I'm going to teach you how to play. Now, let's take a look at how you play Bloodborne the board game. To do that, we're going to reference the player aid. You can see all the actions that you can take during your turn. And here we have the round summary. So at the start of a round, all hunters will refill their hand up to 3 cards. So you can only have 3 cards in your hand at a time when the round starts. Next, you must advance the hunt track by 1 space. Now the start of round is only going to occur 1 time. It's not going to occur at every hunter's turn. So if you're playing with 4 players, 2 players, you'll only advance the hunt track once. Now, if you go to the dream, there's something else, and there's some explanations for attacking. We'll get to it when those become relevant. So the first thing that we need to do, as we've already advanced the hunt track, is shuffle up all of our basic cards, and then draw a hand of 3 cards. As you can see here, we've got a basic attack card with +1 damage, basic attack card with stagger, and one that lets us dodge if we'd like to, as well as clear this slot. Clearing a slot means that you can clear the slot on your weapon and be able to play more cards. Don't worry, we'll get there at a later time. Now you'll notice this card here says draw 1. That only will occur if you play it on your board, not if you play it for an action. I want to just reference something quickly because it's not always clear. So for like this one, second win, when used for a non-attack action, you can heal too. So there's some pretty cool cards like that. Counter strike, after you dodge, you still get to deal 2 damage to an enemy. Really neat stuff with some of the upgrade cards. Now, the actions we can take on our turn is attack. We can move 2 spaces. As I'm in the center, this would be 1, 2 to get to the next board. As I'm going up, it's only going to be 1 movement. It's important to know you cannot break up your movement. I cannot move here, attack, and move. It does not work like that. I can choose to interact with something on the board, such as a consumable, if there was a consumable token. I may also transform my weapon, flipping it to its other side, and clearing all of the slots on the weapon. That's very important because once your weapon is full, you can no longer use it, or I can go to the Hunter's Dream in order to buy upgrade cards, but it's important to note, if you do go to the Hunter's Dream, you will be advancing the hunt track. Now we'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but I just wanted to go through the list of available actions. Our first action is going to be move. We've got to get some insight to solve this hunt mission. my hand of 3 cards. I like dodge, I like stagger. The +1 damage isn't great right now. We don't have that many enemies. I may regret it, but let's see what happens. So we're going to move. And when setting this up, I have to line it up with the doors as best I can. So I can move 1 into the Odon Chapel and got to decide where to go. And quite clearly, what makes the most sense, as I have some more room to push up the tiles just a bit. I don't want to go off camera, but I want to make them the right spot. I'm going to move 2. Well, no choice. We'll take a look and see what the actions are. It's the courtyard lamp, occupied house, or the ransacked house. Nothing occurs when I get to the chapel, unfortunately. Would have liked to have kept my dodge, but we'll take the card with stagger to make another 2 movement. Now, draw from the tiles again, reveal the next tile, and it is the Great Bridge. And what I'm going to do is I will reveal this tile, because it's going to let me teach you a few things, but I'm going to swap it out so that we can see some other aspects of the how to play. Well, aspects of playing the game. So what I'm going to do now is I spawn a consumable at the Great Bridge, and then I must take a look and see what's at the Great Bridge. We've got the Huntsman's Minion, who now comes into play. I moved 1 into his space. I'll move 1 more, and at the end of my movement, the enemy will pursue me. And he will pursue by 1. So he's going to follow me. Let's, for example, imagine that this is the start of my turn for a second, and I was making a movement. I started with him in my space. If I move 1, 2, the enemy is only going to pursue 1 at the end of my movement. He's not going to move 2, just the 1 space. So this is where I am right now. I can decide to keep exploring. Let's just take a peek and see what would happen if I kept exploring. We'd get to the Grand Cathedral, so it's still not one of the places where I need to go, which is fine. We are going to go over combat now because I think it makes a lot of sense. And this is where you really have to make good decisions in Bloodborne the Board Game. If I initiate attack with my last card, which I can, I am going to be out of attacks, and as you can see on the round summary, the enemies within 1 tile will activate, meaning enemies that are on my tile, enemies that are in the Odon Chapel, but not enemies that would be on the central lamp. I really don't want to necessarily take damage. I'm not going to trigger an attack. I'm going to hang on to this card to use during the enemy activation. I can, if the enemy happened to make a basic attack, I could use my firearm, which is pretty cool, but that would mean that I would have to bet on it. So let's take a look at the Huntsman's Minion, because this is where speed becomes important. So we have a fast attack, a medium attack, and he only has slow attacks. That's denoted by the number of arrows. My attacks with stagger also deal +1 damage. He has 5 health. His basic attack is Lumbering Swing, which will deal 3 damage. His special is Overhead Slam, and he cannot be staggered, which is definitely not fun. Then it also deals 2 damage to all other hunters in this space. Now, if you draw the ability, you must follow this aspect of the card. In case he's activating, now if he was here, for example, he'd move to attack me. So enemies will always move and attack in this game if they can. I need to decide what I'm going to do. Well, I want to stagger him because that's going to be the best thing. What is stagger? You've got a nice reference on this player aid, which cancels enemy attacks with slower speed, which is awesome, except his overhead slam because it cannot be staggered. Now, actually, I'm going to be better off playing the slash because he does not have any attack that'll be faster than mine. We'll flip over. Well, let's shuffle this up because I don't remember if I had. So we reveal the enemy action card. It is a special, meaning he cannot be staggered. Well, my attack still has stagger. He would take 3 damage, and I would take a whopping 4 damage, knocking me down to 2 health. Now this would be the end of the turn. I would advance the hunt track by 1 and redraw up to 3 cards. Now this card will stay there because I used the slot. So that is how attacking will work. So you can see every enemy is fairly deadly. I did 3 damage to him. You'll just take that damage and put it right next to him. Now, as I'm doing a teach, I want to show you more about the game. We are going to take a look at the interact action for a consumable. Then we're going to remove this tile and set up something that's going to go with an insight mission. If I want to interact, also make sure there's no enemy in your space because they will activate and decide to attack you. Now, if this was the situation and I wanted to interact, I would just remove this, draw a consumable, and then I could use it during my turn. This would be a great one for me. It's the blood vial. It will heal too. Interact, very simple, very straightforward. Now we're going to go back in time a bit here. As I remove the Great Bridge. We will set up the occupied house. I'll take my dodge and stagger back into my hand because, like I said, we are going back in time. I'll spawn the hunter mob. I spent my dodge to move. Makes total sense. And I'll use my last movement to end on the occupied house space. And he will follow. I'm going to reshuffle the enemy action deck. We're still during the first phase of the game. And it says end the move on the occupied house tile. Reveal card 8. You'll probably want to have these on the board nearby. I just have them off camera because it makes more sense. So we'll take a look at card 8. This says, a safe haven. You knock on the door from inside. A frail elderly voice addresses you, a hunter. About time you showed up. It ain't safe out here for an old woman. Reckon you can't take me someplace safe to wait out the night. So you'd place 1 survivor token on the occupied house space. Any hunter may pick up that token when they move out of that space. The token is returned to the occupied house space if the hunter teleports or enters the hunter's dream. Now we need to get to the chapel, and we have to then reveal card 9. Well, you know what? I can actually move because of the way he's going to pursue, which would be good for me, but bad things may happen. So you have to think about that because I will then be out of cards, and that's not necessarily where I want to be. I'm also needing to set myself back up to 6 health. And you know what? It's probably smarter to move to the chapel, especially if you got some backup. But I want to show you what would happen if I went to the hunter's dream, and I want to potentially kill one of these guys. So just for the sake of it, trying to see if there's any way that we could defeat them. No, they have 4 health. So we're going to go back in time a little bit and show you an example of where I could potentially defeat this hunter's mob and then go to the hunter's dream. Now, let's say I decided to keep this +1 attack. It's got 4 health. I've got my heavy carve. I can definitely beat this guy, which is pretty cool. Now, it's my last card. As I can defeat him, I can wait for him to activate, or I can just decide to attack him myself, which is what I'm going to do with the heavy carve. Play that there. I'm going to reveal the enemy action. It is a basic attack, which is faster than me. Luckily, on my firearm, I can use this to automatically stagger. It doesn't matter about the attack speed. I will not take any damage. I'll deal 4 damage to this minion, defeating it, gaining a blood echo. Now you notice that on kill, I will draw 1 and heal 1. meaning I could draw the top card of this deck. I can then use this card to take an action and go to the Hunter's Dream. Now, really not recommended right now. One of the reasons I would consider doing it is if you have 3 Blood Echoes, which is the max, because if you happen to get to die, and as you saw from me fighting the Huntsman minion, it's fairly easy, you will lose all the Blood Echoes. Now, when you go to the Hunter's Dream, you get to clear your board, you get to refresh your firearm, you can flip your weapon over to any side. Now, I'll do that because that's what I wanted to do. You also get to reset your deck, and you can spend any Blood Echoes that you have. In this case, I had 1 to buy an upgrade card, which immediately gets shuffled in your deck. Just to keep things simple, I'll pick this one, Swift, which upgrades the speed of your attack, gives you +1 damage. You must replace a card. It can be any card. I just kind of like switching cards that are similar. So that is how the Hunter's Dream would work. And it's not a bad thing to do necessarily, but whenever you go to the Hunter's Dream, don't forget, you go up the track, meaning I'm going to be coming back next round. I'm almost to the Blood Moon, and that is important. So let's skip ahead, actually. We're going to set things back up the way they were. But we'll imagine that it is the Blood Moon. So we've got 3 cards here. Put this card back to the top of the deck. Put this back. Go back to where I really was before I decided to just showcase an attack and defeating an enemy and going to the Hunter's Dream. So let's talk about this Blood Moon. What happens during the Blood Moon is everything gets reset. You will fully reset the board. If you had a consumable, let's say there's a consumable here that was spent, you would put it back. So once you get to this point, enemies that are on the board will unspawn and respawn on their spawn points. So it's a full board reset of any of these icons. Now keep that in mind. And that's how that works, which can be really annoying. It also has some special effects for certain cards that are in here and can completely reset a boss that you're trying to defeat. Now, let's go back to where we were. This is the first round of the game, and as you can see, time is an issue. We're going to go big. I'm going back to the chapel. I'm going to take the survivor and move 1, 2. We get the pursuit. We're back in the chapel. We then have to reveal card 9. Revealing card 9, we get to a safe haven. But the smell of beasts warding incense fills your nose as you enter the old chapel. The woman thanks you for your kindness before taking refuge with another small band of townsfolk. Suddenly the chapel's magnificent stained glass windows shatter as a scourge beast crashes in. So I must reveal card 10. Scourge beast spawns here. We must put up fog gates. Now, if you're wondering what the importance of these are, I'll explain it in just a second. And we must reveal card 10. Now, card 10 will tell us to place 1 insight token on this card. There's 3 or more hunters. You have to put more. And it says when the scourge beast would be slain, you would remove 1 token instead. So essentially we have to beat this guy twice, which is just no fun. So we'll put that out on the board. And we've got the fog gates out. And what this means is that we can't leave, we can't move out of here. The only thing that we can do is go to the Hunter's Dream, either by spending a card or by getting killed. We can remove the survivor. This fog gate also prevents other enemies from entering. So it does simulate that video game aspect that you've got to fight a special enemy. Also, the Scourge Beast special now goes from a slow to a very fast blood frenzy. As you can see, we're really not in good shape here. Now, just about done the how to play. I thought I was going to do multiple rounds, but this really just turned into 1 round of me explaining everything, which is pretty good. So we'll take a look at this. So it's the end of my turn. So this guy's going to activate. I'm here. He's going to move and attack me. There's nothing that I can do. I just reveal the attack card, which is a basic attack, the quick swipe, which will deal me 2 damage. I can decide to stagger him if I want to, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best move. I'll take the 2 damage. Then the next turn, I'm going to redraw up to 3 cards. And just to be clear about the enemy attack cards, they stay visible. So there's 3 basic attacks, 1 ability, and 2 special. You can predict what the enemy is going to do. So it's now a new round. And the Scourge Beast needs to be defeated 2 times, which even with 3 cards there can be very difficult. Or at least I've got some stuff with stagger, but it's still not going to be very easy. And this is going to be the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to try it. Let's see if we can do it to get some insight. Even if we don't succeed, I'll show you what happens. If we would have succeeded, I feel like there's a good chance I'm going to the dream, but we're going to give it a try anyway. Now, so attacks with stagger also deal +1 damage. I want to hit this guy hard, so I'm going to play the basic draw 1, meaning I get to draw 1. That's my slash for 2 damage. We'll reveal the top card. It's a basic attack. Now I can take the 2 damage and deal him 2 damage, or I can stagger him. If I'm trying to defeat him, let's go with the stagger. There's only 1 more basic attack. I don't know how many times I'm going to get a chance to do that. Next, I'm going to play my attack with stagger on the quick cut for my second action. It's his ability, which is really annoying. His ability would be at slow speed, before the hunter's attack, spawn 1 Scourge Beast into space. So it's at slow speed. Luckily for me, I'm going really fast. I got stagger. I deal 2 damage. So because I hit the Scourge Beast first, he's defeated. But he doesn't go away. I want him to go away. We just get rid of the insight token. He heals back up to full. And we still got to try to deal with him. So definitely not in a good spot here. Won't be able to defeat him in this round. Right now it's going to be try to get it off again and survive. One thing I neglected to mention with the Hunter's Dream, when you come out of the Hunter's Dream, you can only go to lamps. So there's a central lamp or the Odon Church. But if there's a fog gate, you cannot go right back to that location. Well, I want to try to stagger him. So we're going to take a chance. Play the stagger, reveal what the enemy attack is. It's a basic attack, but actually, you know what? This turns out to be about the same because his attack is fast, and unfortunately, stagger only cancels attacks with a slower speed. Wish I had a dodge, but don't have any place to play it. A dodge card, and we actually do need to teach that to you. So let's just imagine for a second that I wanted to dodge. Let's say this was the first round. I played this guy for my quick cut. He got his basic attack. I could dodge if I played this here. Then I'd be able to clear this slot. It has to be same speed or slower. And dodge would mean I just take no damage, but he would take the damage from my attack. Well, in any case, he hits me for 2. I hit him for 2. 5. So I'm in trouble. I still got a card, but there's nothing I can do with this card. But I can take a chance. I don't think are all 3 basic attacks in here. Unfortunately, all 3 basic attacks are in here. He's going to hit me with the Frenzy. I'm going to the Dream no matter what at this point. But it'll be a good example. We'll end the round and you'll see some of the obnoxious stuff that can happen when you don't plan out your stuff carefully. Unfortunately, I can't run away because of the fog gates. Well, the last best move for me would be to refresh my weapon. If there was a basic attack, a better move would be to flip that over, because then I could at least potentially stun him. In case I've got clear slots, but unfortunately no cards to play. You'll activate. Deal a special. I go to the Hunter's Dream. This goes up by 1. Get to reshuffle, do what I need to do, but I'm not going to do it because it's going to be a good example just to show you what's going to happen. We're going to the start of the next turn. It's the Blood Moon, so guess what happens? Yeah, heal all damage from it. So let's see. It respawns. He disappears. he disappears. They respawn here and here, and that insight token we got rid of comes back. I can respawn to the central lamp, but I got to do my task all over again. So there you have it. It took a little while, but we've explained how to play Bloodborne the board game. I did it all really just in a few rounds. You got to see everything, and I really wanted to try to break it out so that was quite clear. We haven't really covered boss combat, but it works the same way as enemy combat. You're just going to get a smaller card and a specific boss deck. Let's take a look at those quickly. So you get your boss decks. They're all here. You'll see that they have specific attacks written on them. And then let me get the boss cards. I decided to put them back in the box for some reason. The boss cards will come out and they'll either be phase 1 or phase 2 with a set health based on the amount of players that you have in the game. So there you have it. That is Bloodborne the board game. Now keep it right here as Julie and I are going to come back with our review. Bloodborne the board game. CMON, miniatures, it's cooperative, everything you typically like in a game. What did you think about it?
Well, let's start with the positives, stuff that I really like. I like the minis. I think they're cool. I mean, CMON minis are normally pretty good. The monster minis are pretty cool too. There's some really scary looking monsters in there.
The big bads are really nice, and the larger monsters look really cool. I gotta say, once again, CMON has done a fantastic job in terms of giving these miniatures great table presence.
So I played both women. Now, one of the women looks like a woman. The other one you had to tell me was a woman. But the one with the big blade definitely is very cool. I think she's great. They don't have names. They're named after their weapons, I guess you said.
Yeah, so the woman with the big sword is Ludwig's Holy Blade. And the other one is called I think it's something cane. It's like Threaded Cane or something.
Threaded Cane. So I think it's pretty cool that at least for this box, they have 2 women and 2 men. So that's pretty inclusive there from a gender perspective. So I appreciate that. So that was pretty cool. That being said, I don't think the characters have a little bit of a power based on their weapon, but there wasn't all that much to the power. I mean, we start off pretty similar. Our cards are all the same.
Most of the hunters' weapons, every hunter has their trick weapon plus a firearm. Most of them were identical. You can get some upgrades as you play the game, but Threaded Cane does have that more powerful cannon, which you enjoyed.
But I still ended up enjoying playing the one with the giant sword better. So, I mean, the idea of this game is great because you're exploring the board. You pick up consumables that help you power up. You do some quests that help you power up and get some relics and get different things. And you fight monsters that allow you to power up as well. So in theory, this game is everything that I love in a game. Oh, and it's cooperative. So I'm playing with you to get our greater good. Our greater goal, I should say. And I also normally really like idea of these chapters that continue, where you continue to use your powered up character along the way.
And one thing I do want to highlight, I think they did a really good job with designing the campaign system in this. The fact that it's 3 chapters and that each session is an hour to 90 minutes. It does mean that if you want to make Bloodborne the board game a feature game at your game, that you can probably finish it in one sitting. So I think that is something that was really well thought out, and happy to see it included in the design of the game. A lot of campaign games, you might play like a 2 or 3 hour session and then you got to come back for more, which we love, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to see shorter campaign games giving you ways to accomplish something in one night. And you've got 4 campaigns in the year, so you do get a fair bit of replayability.
So I can't speak to how well this is adapted. I don't know the video game at all.
So I've never played the video game. I was hoping by picking this up that I was going to get Bloodborne as a board game. And from what I know of Bloodborne, I think they did a really good job of adapting the video game. However, in terms of a little bit of a negative, which we'll continue on later, I think they might have done too good of a job of adapting the video game to the tabletop.
So I mean, I like the idea of how you're exploring the cards, the map. Basically, as you explore, you pick up a map card at random, and you put it out. So you're exploring the city that way.
See, I really don't like the map tiles at random.
I
think it works, but this is rare. It can happen. It has happened to us. You can lose the game before you even start playing because of the randomness to the map tiles. If the tiles that you need in order to complete the insight missions for the hunt are too low on the stack, then you're going to run out of time before you have a chance to complete the mission. And during our play, we lost during the second chapter of the first campaign. We literally ran out of time. We had a few turns left, but we were able to just math it out. We had no way of defeating the boss. We just couldn't do the amount of damage, partially because of the Blood Moon reset that was going to happen that would bring him back up to full strength.
Do you have anything more positive that you want to bring up before we go to the negative?
Not really. I gotta say, I think the game is well designed. It's smooth. It's clean. The rulebook is okay. I definitely recommend that you get the FAQ. There's some omissions, but you're not gonna have any issues learning how to play the game. I like the layout of it, and as I mentioned before, I think they've done a good job adapting it, and it is nice table presence. Other than that, though, I think the game felt pretty flat for both of us.
So for me, I think the biggest disappointment was combat. You have 6 health. There are ways to get more, like some of your consumables that you can pick up can allow you to get health back. But the issue I find with this is it's so disproportionately hard-hitting monsters compared to your health. And you have to be so tactically 100% precise with this. And I'll give an example of, I think for me, that illustrates for me why I don't like the combat is I had just died and gone back to the dream. I died in another combat. I was attacked by 2 monsters. I killed one. The other one just knocked me out.
One thing I do want to mention just as a positive, I do like the way the Hunter's Dream work. I do like the respawn aspect. I think that was a great adaptation of the game.
Yeah. That being said, I'm fully recovered. I pop back up and I come to help Jason, who's fought this big bad once, and he's down to 2 health, and I'm at full health. I've got decent cards to combat, and 1 hit, and I'm out. I'm out. I got hit for 4, and then there's no way for me to kill the monster without dying again. And by dying again, basically every time you die, you bring up that moon track. And I was just deflated. Honestly, I don't mind hard-hitting monsters. I like them. I like hitting them back really hard. But in this case, it just felt like I had to be 100% tactical in this, or I had to make sure that I had to randomly get absolutely the perfect cards to be able to...
Yeah, to be able to be like stagger, dead.
Yeah. So for me, that's not fun. And I mean, for somebody else, maybe that's the way they like to play the game. Maybe that adds a challenge. It's not a challenge that I enjoy, and I honestly got cranky playing this game because
It was not easy playing the game because Julie felt like she wasn't getting it. She was getting it just fine. She just wasn't enjoying it. And I gotta say, this game reminds me a little bit, well, not a little bit in terms of the combat, a lot in terms of the combat of Deep Madness. So if you like Deep Madness, you're probably gonna like Bloodborne the board game. Now, the video game combat is known to be hard. There's a very good chance that you're gonna die. And they brought that to the tabletop. And that's fine if that's the experience that you want. However, I don't think it's necessarily the experience that a lot of dungeon crawl gamers are really going to enjoy. If you're looking for that hard-hitting monster, if you're looking to be incredibly tactical, that every move matters, you're really going to like this game. If you like Bloodborne, the video game, and you want to see it adapted to the tabletop, then that is exactly what they've done. However, like Julie, I found combat to be boring, dull. I don't like thinking about the cards. I don't like being like, oh wait, I really needed this card to have an extra card. Do I need to flip my weapon now? Like, those are the kinds of decisions that I just don't enjoy doing. I guess maybe it's based on what I do every day. I have to make some hard decisions and figure stuff out. It's fun to do in a board game, It's fun to do against other players in a board game. I did not enjoy doing it in this combat. I found it dull and boring and just an experience that I don't ever want to have again. From the amount of times we played it, we were partway through one of the chapters. It was going sideways. We both just looked at each other and kind of said, yeah, we've had enough. Like, this just is not our game.
No. So I don't have anything else to add. I'm ready to give it my rating.
Well, I got a few other things that were fairly big negatives that I started to talk about. So the tiles, the randomness of the tiles, I think can be a real detriment, as the fact that you can lose the game before it even starts. And I thought I would be okay with the video game art in this, but I really wasn't. I was hoping that they'd taken Bloodborne. You got the nice art from the video game on the box. I was really hoping for a nice board game adaptation, changing a few things up to have a really cool experience in the world of Bloodborne. But what I'm getting is the video game. So that's great for someone, not great for us. And the video game graphics aren't that good, not anymore. Using stills just felt so lazy and really just didn't hit the spot for me. Now, I'm sure it made producing a lot of the stuff easier because there's a ton of enemies. You got a lot of variety in the box, and that is pretty cool. Also, a big negative, if you're trying to pick this up in Canada, is the retail price point. It is very expensive. For what you could have bought on the Kickstarter, you're probably going to pay about double to get that same amount of content at retail, which I think is a little disappointing. And the final verdict for me is that when I'm playing this game, I was like, I've got this great Eric Lang game on the shelf. I can see it. The big guy up there behind me, sitting over there, there's Cthulhu Death My Dad. I'm like, why am I not getting this back out to the table and playing this? And I think that's really become something that's more important to Julie and I. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little bit of a noise that popped up on the camera, but we are back. So as I was saying, Julie and I are really trying to have a slimmer collection and make more time to play the games that we really love, and just this isn't one of them. I really wanted it to be. I experienced FOMO. I made sure that I went out and got a copy of this because I heard so many good things. I thought that I had to play it. But looking into it more, seeing the way people are discussing it on the BGG forums and out there, a lot of people have some small issues with the game as well. And I should have done more due diligence on this one. This never should have come into our collection. It's really just not for us.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to go first with my rating. I don't do this very often. I'm giving it a 5.
I'm giving it a 5 as well. I don't like this. This has been one of the least enjoyable board game experiences I think we've had together. And I think that they've done a great job adapting this, as I said before, but I think this is, at least for us, a failure as a board game experience.
Yeah, the experience for us, at least.
Yes, for us, at least. Some people are really going to love it. Now, what time is it, Julie?
It's time to remind people to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures of Julie and I playing Bloodborne the Board Game, that's where you'll find them. And if you want to get a good deal on Bloodborne the Board Game, check out our link to multizone.ca down there. When they get the game in stock, you can get 10% off the game, and also a portion of that purchase will come back to the channel so you can help support us at the same time. And then popping up in front of me is going to be a link to one of our most recently released videos, and since I mentioned it, it's going over there. Yeah, Cthulhu Death May Die, a CMON game that we absolutely love, our review and how to play. Now what time is it?
Time to grab our drink.
Grab our best friend, because we're never going to be hunters, at least in this again.
And we're going to remind you to keep playing games.
Keep playing games. We will be, just not this one.